I'm Gary Glasscock, and I'm here today to talk about my thesis project, meteorbase.com. So let's go on and talk about meteorbase. Now, what I'm going to cover here is the who, the what, the why, the when, and the how. And who? That's me, Gary Glasscock. Now, I was born in Campbellsville, Kentucky in 1959, and Campbellsville is a little bitty old town in the middle of Kentucky. And at one point, we lived in Bowling Green, Kentucky. I think it was before I was a year old, and moved around some there in Campbellsville. My parents were young, uh, naturally, but we ended up moving to the suburbs of Cincinnati. Lived up there for a few years. My dad owned a business there. My mom worked here and there a little bit. She did have trouble finding a job in a lot of places, various places, so she couldn't. Uh, she wasn't able to earn a living, like help out or anything. So anyway, we ended up coming back to Campbellsville, and that was in 1968. Lived here pretty much ever since. Now, after I graduated high school in 1978, I had already joined the military, and at that time went to Fort Gordon, Georgia. Not one of the best places that I've been to, but wasn't that bad. But still, there was a stench from the paper mills that was around the area, and it was just there every morning you woke up. Really nice to wake up to. So anyway, after that, after I done all my training, my basic NAIT, off to Germany I went, and it was still East and West Germany at the time. So here I am outside of Frankfurt, Germany. It kind of a suburb of Frankfurt, Germany. Now the place that I was stationed was called McNair Kaserne, but here you see there Cafe McNair, and tell you we'll get to that in a second. But this is where it was. This is the actual place, and they've it's been reclaimed. The U.S. government has abandoned it, and it's been reclaimed by the German government or some developer. I don't know how that works over who would have done it, but anyway, it's been reclaimed, and now it's all housing. So all this up through here, though, this big section up through here, this was the motor pool, and along with the little section down in here where you see 2015 Google, right there, that little section right there with that square part, with the square park with that was also the rec center. That was the movie theater. In the U shape, that was the barracks, and that was just an open courtyard right there in the middle. Now here where Cafe McNair is, that was the mess hall. So anyway, I stayed there for a few days, maybe a week, and then they sent me to Fulda, Germany, which at the time, like I said, East-West German border was still there, and Fulda is only 6 kilometers away from the east, where the East-West German border was. The reason for we had an installation there was because there's a mountain range there, and there's a gap called Fulda Gap, and in World War II, this is what I was told, Hitler brought the tanks through there. So I spent 6 months there, came back down to uh, Herxt at Cafe at McNair Kaserne. There's the 32nd Signal Battalion, and then after that, discharged and came on back to Campbellsville. Now my education, I have an Associate's of Science degree in Electronic Engineering, got that in '85, and then in 2005 I graduated our local college, Campbellsville University, with a double major, bachelor's of science degree in computer information systems, bachelor of science degree in communications, with an emphasis in journalism. Now, what is Meteor? Okay, MeteorBase.com is going to be a learning management system that's built on Meteor and built with Meteor. And what I'll be doing is teaching web development from HTML to advanced JavaScript using the Meteor.js platform. Now, Meteor is of what they refer to as a full stack uh, development platform. So you've got HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and then you've got MongoDB, which is a NoSQL database. And all that makes for rapid application development and for mobile apps, web apps, and all. And that's what we'll be covering in those, that we'll be building a number of real world apps as we go through. And then why would I do this? Especially when there's plenty of media tutorials out there. I mean, I've got quite a bit of competition here, but why create another? Well, one of the main reasons, out of date code, and the other, no updates to the tutorials. Okay, now why would I don't know why they did put it out there and not update, but they did. And a lot of times at some of these, you can't get any feedback from the person that done it to help you out with the error that's in their code now because that they haven't updated it. And the bad thing about that is you've probably paid for that course. And you know what? We got the same issues that's coming up in most of the books on Meteor. And part of the reason is the Meteor is moving so fast and evolving so quickly that it is kind of hard to keep up with. So now, when is all this planning on happen? Well, I plan to have a midpoint presentation spring 2016. Summer of 2016, directed study. I'm thinking advanced user experience and be doing some advanced research for optimal user experience in the web app. And then fall 2016 and spring of 2017, directed study. And then hope to finish up and present my thesis in fall of 2017, graduate. So now, how is all this going to be accomplished as far as how the student's going to learn? Okay, now, what happens? They come to MeteorBase.com, right? Once they get there, they have to sign in or create an account. So they come here. This is create an account, or you can sign in. You notice these aren't configured, but they're easily configured. Once they get signed in, though, then they'll be brought to their dashboard. But they can go on then and go to the course page, and this is the course list. And here we are. We've got 8 courses right here. And the color codes that I come up with are based on martial arts belts, and that's where the color come from. Now, also, once they get in and get to here, then they'll be able to click on these. Some of these are originally going to be free, like HTML and CSS and Bootstrap and JavaScript 1 will be free, but you'll have to pay for these, bottom 4, or you'll have to pay to be a member, and that's the way I'm looking at it. Now, once they get in and they go to one of the course pages, this is what it looks like up to this point. We've got a button here to go back to the courses, and the module list is going to be here. We'll have a video component. All the content is going to be created by me. All the code, all the videos, probably not any images I use, because there's places that I can use. I can grab free images from and use those, and that would be better that way, because more of a neutral thing. Anyway, all that I'll be creating all that, and actually be creating everything about this site. Well, I shouldn't say I'm going to create all the code, because some of that is kind of copied, but that's the way it is. I mean, some of that you go and you learn how to do it. You look on the page on the documentation how you're supposed to go about doing this, and so you copy the code. And so, anyway, that's what I plan to do, and hope this turns out well.